Each quarter tells a story, from Wall Street heavyweights to emerging disruptors. We break down the numbers, the reactions, and the moves that matter most. Real data, real insights, in real time. This is Earnings Central Live with Verified Investing.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Earnings Central Live. My name is Lawton here with Verified Investing, and today we got a jam-packed show for you. I apologize, I'm in a different setup just because I'm a little under the weather, but that doesn't mean our show is going to be any less explosive. Before I go any further, guys, I would ask you guys to consider liking and subscribing, guys. Please consider liking this video and subscribing to the Verified Investing YouTube channel. It lets the algorithm know that you're interested in content just like this. So let me share my charts and let's go over a couple stocks. Today we're going to be covering Rivian, Expedia, and Coinbase. If we could please throw up the graphic for Rivian, please. But yeah, Rivian and Expedia, they release at 4 o'clock. And Rivian, we're expecting slightly better earnings per share. As far as revenue, we're actually expecting a decrease here in revenue, down a little bit, 26 to 27% year over year. If we could please switch to my charts and pick off that banner. So here we have Rivian, and this reports in around 3 minutes, guys. I'm going to give you my 3 levels of support and resistance. If we could put that slider on the bottom, please. $13.50 is the first aggressive level I'd be interested in Rivian. Secondary level of support is around $13.18. Nice previous gap fill there from the last time I had earnings around the 31st of October. And the final level is basically this gap fill from earnings on the 4th of November down here around $12.47, $12.50 for support. For resistance, I'm looking at around $15 at $14.98, followed by $15.21 and then $15.93. Also reporting at 4 p.m. we have Expedia. If we could please throw that graphic up on Expedia. On Expedia, we're expecting an increase of earnings per share up 39 to 44% year over year, around $3.32 to $3.44 for revenue. We're expecting a 7% increase in revenue, around $3.4 to $3.42 billion. Thank you guys for your kind words. Thank you, Fashion Edition. All right, can we go to my charts, please? Remove that banner and then throw the slider at the bottom. My levels for Expedia, as we have about 1 minute to go. For support, I'm looking at 1920. There's a nice gap fill down there, followed by an additional one around 187, and then a third one from earnings around 178 for support. For resistance, I'm looking at that 249 number, followed by that 257 number and that 265 number. All right, and these all report in just about a minute, and we're going to react to this in real time. You're not going to see my face during this reaction, but hopefully we can get some action here on Rivian. Just under a minute to go. We're based out of Florida, around the Tampa area. We have a couple more stocks releasing at 4 p.m., including Applied Materials and Airbnb, but those are levels that members actually got. Members of my brand new service, the Earnings Levels with Lawton Ho. They get access to all of my levels on every single stock, pre-market and post-market. So that'll be interesting to see. We'll go ahead and check on how those trades did after we react to these main earnings. You can scan that QR code to learn more. Anyways, guys, we have about 10 seconds to go here before Rivian and Expedia come out with earnings. Now, just something to note. Nothing stops me yet, JK. Something to note, guys, it's going to move significantly. So make sure any orders that you put out are to extended trading hours, and you go a little bit lighter because earnings are dangerous and volatile, guys. We're not trying to predict where it's going to go. We're just going to try and predict where it's going to bounce or pull back. And the first move isn't always necessarily the correct move. So far, not much action here on Rivian and Expedia. We're waiting to see if there's going to be a move. They're supposed to be out exactly at 4, but they don't always release them exactly at 4. This is where you guys come into play. I need your help, okay? If I'm looking at Rivian and Expedia is moving, or Coinbase or something else is moving, please let me know. I'll switch to it. Rivian initially popping here. First level of resistance is around $15. This isn't quite enough movement yet. We need a little more of a pop or a drop. All right, Expedia starting to move now. 249. Remember, guys, 249 is that first level of resistance. Let's see how that level works out. Remember, $249 is that aggressive shortable level. Applied Materials, yep. Applied Materials we'll look at later, but that's a members only trade right now. We'll take a look at that in a bit. See how my levels worked or didn't work. Back to Expedia, nothing there. And back to Rivian, not much there. Let's see if Expedia can push up to that 249, push above it, and then potentially get a pullback, huh? Back to Rivian, hasn't moved too much, guys. Have not moved too much so far. And Expedia looks like it moved up and then had a nice pullback. Pulled back about 4% from this 243, 243.50 region. Okay, let's take a look. Now flat, going negative, and we see this so often, guys. And that's why I said the first move isn't always the right move. First move might be bullish based on the initial numbers, but things that come with earnings, guidance, right? And we don't even know if it's going to stay absolutely negative. You see, I'm getting an alert for AMAT. Interesting. Speaking of AMAT, guys, since we have a little time before Coinbase releases earnings and these things aren't moving that quick, actually, Rivian popping up. Remember that 1498 is that first level of resistance, guys, that aggressive shortable level. But we can, let's see if this can pop up into that level and then get a pullback, guys. Back to Expedia, starting to sell now. Okay, the first level of support is around 192.20. But Rivian popping up here to 1491 and pulled back about 3%. Rivian getting close, guys. Oh, there's so much resistance there. Let's see if you can get above it. And then we'll check on some of the members only trades and see how they did. Wow, look at that. Rivian piercing that 1498. All right, now we need to see a pullback, or will it hit that more standard level around 1521? We have our conservative level up here around 1593. Let's see what Rivian ends up doing here. Does it continue up, or do we see a pullback? So far, great push up there on Rivian. Up around 7% off of earnings. Question is it going to continue higher to that standard level, standard shortable level? Looks like it just hit. That standard shortable level just hit. Now we need to see, can we get a pullback? So far hasn't pulled back much, about 0.7%. But we kind of want to see a good flush here from this level here on Rivian, and there's a really good sell, guys. If you took that standard level, you would have made 1.5%. Could have made it 1.5%. Continuing to sell, guys. Tons of price action here. Back to Expedia, starting to come down now. And look at this more standard level on Rivian playing on beautifully. And that's the thing about earnings, guys. It could be significantly whippy. Now I'm just going to go ahead and check on some of our members only trades. These are members of Lawton of the earnings levels service, and look at that level of AMAT, that first aggressive level that I posted in our service was just tagged. Airbnb, let's see if Airbnb, any of our levels were tagged. Not quite. And then finally Pinterest. No, it doesn't look like it's out yet. Back to Expedia and Rivian. Good sell here coming in Rivian. Let's see if we can get a continued flush, but pull back over 1% from that level. Back to Coinbase. Coin is flying. Coin hasn't even come out yet, guys. Coin hasn't even come out, Mark. All right, let's take a look at Rivian a little bit longer. But if you took that level here, congratulations on Rivian. Back to Coinbase. If we could throw up that graphic, what are we expecting from Coinbase? Throw up that banner, please. Coinbase, we're actually expecting poor earnings, right? Earnings per share down $1 to $1.15, expecting around a 66 to 78% downward move. For revenue, we're also expecting a decrease down about 18 to 20% year over year to about $1.82 to $1.9 billion. Okay, please come to my charts because Coinbase looks like it just released slightly early, guys. My levels on Coinbase for support are 132.44, and then secondary level of support is 124.41. Third, more conservative level is 115.56. For resistance, 162.26. First level of resistance, secondary level of resistance up here around 168.50, and then finally around 180 is that tertiary level of resistance. Let's see if Coinbase can do anything. Back to Rivian. Looks like Rivian did pull back and now pushed up to that more conservative level, 1593. I expect a ton of resistance there, guys. Ton of resistance. Looks like tagging that level and then falling over 2%. What an amazing pullback from that level, guys. Wow. Incredible. Now the question is, did Rivian get there or stop 1 penny short? Back to Coinbase. They're not set to release earnings for another 3 minutes, but let's see at the volume. Yeah, it looks like, judging on the volume, potentially earnings did come out. Not quite sure. Let's take a look at these members trades. Looks like AMAT not doing a whole lot. Airbnb not doing a whole lot. And looks like Pinterest just hit that first aggressive levels for members. Actually pierced that level initially and bounced over 2%. So members just got a 2% win there on Pinterest. Congratulations to all the members of the earnings level service. On TOST, looks like it didn't hit that first aggressive level for members either. Back to Coinbase, not quite hitting that first level of support, 132.24 on Coinbase. Back to Rivian, look at this pullback from this level. Almost perfect, guys. Just scrolling through here. And I know Roku was another one that played out. Looks like it hit our level, members level, and actually pulled back over 4%. So congratulations to members on that Roku level as well. Wow. So many of our levels are working out today. I mean, this is earnings season, right? Crazy amounts of movement, crazy amounts of volatility. And when there's volatility, volume, there's money to be made. So Coinbase, it says here, and if I'm reading correctly, they should release earnings at 4:10, but based on the spike in volume, they may have released earnings already. However, this move is only a 4% move, not a whole lot. We're going to keep our low trading levels here. We're going to be live for another 7 to 8 more minutes. Back to Rivian, look how great this more conservative level did pull back, hitting that level and pulling back over 2%. Amazing there. Back on Expedia, unfortunately not hitting any of our levels. And then for Coinbase, seeing if it can break down a little more to hit that 132.44. We have about another minute until they're supposed to release earnings. Again, it looks like the earnings may have already come out, but we'll give it a little more time. Just because you never know, right? Just because they say that they're going to announce at 4:10 doesn't mean they have to. As we see here on Coinbase, it looks like they had moved about at 4:06. Any thoughts about Applied Materials? Yeah, it hit our shortable level for members, and members are in the money now. But it's just kind of chopping here at that resistance level around 360. Basically, was that resistance level on Applied Materials. Not too much else for thoughts. Back down to Coinbase. All right, basically a couple more seconds until they're supposed to report earnings. Again, based on this price action, it looks like they may have reported earnings. but let's just give it a little more time and see here. Coin isn't flying. Coin is actually down. Additionally, on Coinbase, the movement on Coinbase is going to be predicated on Bitcoin, right? If Bitcoin's doing well, then Coinbase generally does well as well. But it looks like a little downtick here on Coinbase. 132.44 is that level, first level of support, that aggressive level. Let's see here if we can get this continue to fall. Looks like you say ANET got cooked. Let's see ANET. Yeah, so it looks like ANET did hit our level. This is another stock that we gave to members only. Looks like it hit my standard level and pulled back over 2%. So congratulations for members. That's like a third win there just for members. But they did get those trading levels ahead of time. Awesome. But Arista got a nice bounce. Yeah, I agree. Now we're going to be live for another 2 to 3 more minutes just to see if Coinbase can do anything. We'll check in on some of our other members only trades. And then we'll call it a day. But this is a beautiful level here on Rivian. Could have snagged here. Snagged about 1.3% there on Rivian. Could have taken about 2.5% from this conservative level here on Rivian. Not much on Expedia. And looks like Coinbase is just kind of sitting here. As you can see, at that 410, the volume did remain consistent around 57,000, which makes me think that the earnings did come out slightly earlier, right? So we're not expecting a whole lot at this point, guys. I would probably cancel most of my orders here on Coinbase or anything else that you're potentially trading, just because the further away, guys, that we get from the earnings release, the less movement there is. Back to AMAT, looks like members could have snagged about 1.5%. Another winner for members. ANET members, if you took that standard level, could have taken 5%. If you took that aggressive level, could have taken that 3.5% win. On Pinterest, could have taken a little bit of a gain here, about 2% on Pinterest on that first aggressive level. TOST never hit even of our aggressive level and could have traded Roku plenty of times. So there's just so many stocks to potentially trade, guys, here. Thank you so much, 2 Cent Harry saying you're awesome. Thank you so much. All right, guys, with that being said, I think I'm going to close up. Again, I apologize. I have a fever right now. But, the show must go on. Check me out on all the socials on X, on Instagram, on Twitter at Lawton Investing. Please like and subscribe to the Verified Investing YouTube channel. And I'm so excited to play the commercial for my brand new service, the Earnings Levels with Lawton Hill. See you guys next time.